This is The Growl with your host, William.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. 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 When it rains, it pours.
And from the mountains and wooded winds comes the whisper of the growl. I apologize for being a little late in this episode. I'm having some lung issues and throat issues as of late, so I may sound a little hoarse than normal. I apologize, but I want to get this episode out to you, and I wanted to expand on the last episode where I talked about the beautiful poem of You. And that, to me, brings us to truth. And the truth of you, the truth of me. Kind of been a theme over all of these episodes. I'm sure you've heard me say we live on a planet of over 7 billion different worlds. And those worlds are us. They are our thoughts and our perception of the reality that surrounds us. And hence this becomes truth. A court of law, we've seen the TV programs, you see the witnesses, if you've ever been to court yourself, where they pull them up to the stand and it's, on the Bible, it's, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? And of course, yes, I do. And then, they go about their thing. But really, when you look at it, it's their perception, right? So the truth is not necessarily the reality of what happened. Kind of a case in point would be, we have a stadium, and you have somebody in the upper left seats of this stadium and somebody down in the lower right seats of this stadium. And something occurs, something happens, right? They are both witness to it. However, if you ask the witness from the upper left to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, they will give you their truth, their perception of what occurred, the reality that unfolded in front of them. They will give what they consider to be the truth, which is the perception, the angle, whatever it might be, of what they saw. The person in the lower right stadium, again, they are telling their truth of what happened. So, you look at the reality that surrounds us. You and I could go into a movie theater, watch the exact same movie, and come out with a different perspective of the same movie based on our beliefs and our truths. I believe that truth comes from a general perception that can then relate to personal. My mother and father, devout Christian, and they have a solid belief into them going to heaven if you do what the Bible says and live the life that they have lived, their truth, then the truth is they will go to heaven. And that is their truth. And it's similar. So when, they have, I mean, I don't know how many millions of Christians we have throughout the world, that their truth is similar based on what they perceive to be the reality of the teachings that were presented to them. So it's consistent. So you can say that, yes, if you're a Christian, is it true that you will go to heaven? Yes, it is. However, if you look at the Jews and the Jewish people and their beliefs that the Messiah has not arrived yet, so dust to dust, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, that there is no heaven. You just simply go back to the earth and there is nothing after. And how many millions of Jewish people are out there in that culture and religion that if you asked a Jewish person from really any part of the world, that is it true that ashes to ashes, dust to dust? Yes, they will tell you that that is true. So we have this concept that I have looked at through over the years, over the conversations I've had, not only with my best friend, the hummingbird, other people, and some of my own inner thoughts in my solitude, is not only is it the beautiful poem of you, but that is built upon your truths, your wisdom, your experiences, how you view reality around you, how I view reality around me. And, we both look up to the sky, and we can both agree that the sky is blue. However, if we were to go to, there are certain Eskimo tribes that live almost in a constant winter, and they have 15 different words for the color white. So if we were in their home, if we were in their land, and we said, oh yeah, no, that's white, they might ask you, well, which one? Because there are many different truths to their white compared to ours. So when you look at the reality of any time, any moment in your life, and you look at the reality, and these are the things that you have created, the reality that you're in, whether it's, losing job, having kids, getting divorced, getting married, relationships beginning and ending, and just everything, everything that happens to us, we begin to develop these truths that we know, and they're personal for us. And that's really, truly where I'm getting at, is that these truths that we hold dear to our hearts, that we keep in the heart's library of memory and wisdom and experience, that these truths that we hold dear become our poem. And our poem is how we represent those truths to other people and how we represent them to the world. And these truths may change over time. In my youth, there was a good number of years that the bottle and the mistress that sat inside of it, she was my truth. She was more important to me than, my daughter, my marriages, my relationships. And when I stepped, and in this another episode, another time, but, when, that last DUI of mine and the dream that I had, and when the divine came down to me, and I honestly believe my truth is that at that moment, the Mother of God saved my life and sent me on this journey, which, even having friends and family to the outside of it, but has been very solitary. My truth changed. My truth, because the view and my perception of my reality changed based on my desire to change that reality, to change that journey, to change that path. So when you step into a relationship, and if it's something new, you'll discover, right? You start discovering the small truths with people. Prime example, I would like to think and be flattered that, I was on Bumble and not long ago got a like, we got a match. This young woman, she's like, no, you intrigued me and I liked your photos. And so, I'm flattered that, she found me attractive enough to go to dinner with me. However, her truths and my truths surrounding the current situation, some of our hobbies and interests and, beliefs on a political level possibly just didn't coincide. At that point, we took the pages of our poem back, thanked each other for a good conversation, and went on our way. So these are your truths. This is what you represent when you present your poem. And again, I think I had mentioned in the last episode that people are like stories, right? And a lot of people you meet throughout your life are going to be Cliff's Notes. They're going to be small excerpts. You meet, you say hello, and there might be an occasion where if, you obviously live in the same city, same county, area, whatever, then you might run into each other from time to time and you'll always smile. Possibly, hopefully, right? Being friendly. And then you step deeper. And then as you are willing to share your truth, share this poem of you with others, you'll find out. I mean, you will find out pretty quickly, people's truths, which, their beliefs and their perceptions and how they view things. Prime example, look at our country right now, how many conspiracy theories we have. There are people out there that if you say, prime example, okay, it's like if you're wearing a mask and I'm not, but if you believe that they are telling you the truth and that your mask is protecting you from getting sick if I was sick, and if you were sick, your mask is also protecting me, then why would you be angry or upset with me for not wearing a mask if your mask is supposed to protect you? Hence, we then kind of fall into that gray area of truth. Is it that you are upset because you are conforming and I am not? Or is it upset, or do you become upset because maybe I am testing your faith and your belief in those that you have come to believe are telling you the truth, and why would I not listen to them? If this is the truth, if this is the case, the reality is that these masks, are helping us. So you see where I'm going with this, kind of, with a current event kind of thing. We could also go, in a political structure and realm as to the youth currently right now, that 25 to, let's say 40 on the outskirts. There is a belief that the Democrats, the Democratic Party, and if we took a more socialist stance with free health care, free schooling, free medical and dental and vision, and all of this was given to us for free, that truth would be that our country would be better off. And they're very impassioned. Again, kind of that gray area of truth, because the other side, which is very capitalistic in nature, very still Republican nature, that we don't want to pay 80 to 90% tax rate. We don't want to be put in these little block apartments, and based on our aptitude, that is the job we will have the rest of our lives. Right? If you look at the Soviet Union, and you look at what their structure was, that's really kind of where it was. That's where it was. If you were an amazing mathematician, you were a really, really good athlete, but you were an amazing mathematician, that's where they put you. So you through elementary up through secondary into post-secondary schooling, master's, whatever, and then you were basically an engineer. Now, maybe you wanted to do something else, but it didn't matter. That is what you were given. That is where your aptitude was, and that's what helps the motherland, right? So let's branch back a little bit because, it's because that fell. Right. Those truths that these people had grown into for years and years and years, the Soviet Union, the truth that they knew suddenly changed, right? The wall came down, democracy to whatever degree started to enter that country. These people discovered freedoms and discovered new truths. So we're kind of on a verge where, if this is what the younger generation wants, if this is honestly their truth and their belief, and they think that by doing this will truly create a better nation, I am ever much more a capitalist than a communist myself, and I will vote my opinion, obviously. I hope I'm here, for a good number of years still. I will vote my conscience. But will it be beat out? Right? And then you have people that stand up and they cry in the halls. Well, why isn't anybody standing up for freedom and democracy and the republic? Why isn't anybody standing up against Antifa and these protests? Why isn't anybody? It's like, well, because there are truths to our lives. I have no idea how these people can protest day and night, day and night, day and night without a job. Right? Without money. Either they're all financially secure or they're just kind of these hipster, don't care if they don't bathe, whatever, or they're on welfare, they're just living in the streets anyway, or they're being funded by somebody else, who knows? But the average citizen, our truth is my truth. Let's remove average citizen. My truth is that if we stood as citizens against a tyranny, which the Constitution states, if our government becomes a tyranny, because I'll tell you, I don't want Antifa running the government, so why would I support them? Why would I take up arms with them? I don't want some redneck backwoods white supremacist group doing it either. I wouldn't support and stand with them either. But the rest of us, and it's funny because, these people that cry out and are like, well, why aren't you standing up? Why aren't you making a stand? It's like, well, why aren't you? You're good, you're crying, you're out there, you're on the radio, you're doing whatever, you're doing all this stuff, but why aren't you out there? Why? Because we have our own truths, and the truth is we need money to eat, we need to continue doing our job, we are not financially independent enough to just take up arms, build a small army, and go off to DC to try and change things. And most average citizens, we want to live our life. We want to have our simple freedoms. We want to have our simple truths. So I've branched way off in kind of a political thing, to make my point. But even with relationships and family and friends and everything, it's your truth. And you do, right? You find your tribe based on your truths. I know a group of people that my perception, the truth I see, is that they like to stand on pedestals like Greek and Greek goddesses and praise themselves for how much better they are than the rest of the world. when they're together. Now you get them alone, they seem to be decent, right? Decent, and they're more average, I guess, But again, you find your tribe with your truths. You develop relationships based off of your truths. I also believe too. There's a phrase in the Bible that says, "Friends are like swords. We keep each other sharp." If everybody believed the same thing, what an amazingly dull world this would be, right? There would be no new discovery. There'd be no thinking outside the box. There'd be no expansion of imagination or creativity or art. That's in my humble opinion. You have to disagree at times. This is how, when you debate, when you can show your truth, your perception of the reality that is surrounding us, and then allow, and this is the key, I see a lot on Facebook, there's a lot of passion and a lot of hatred, because it's almost like you are listening to respond. You're not listening to actually listen. So being able to be open to someone else's poem, their truth, where they're coming from. I always tell people, especially when I'm in a debate, it's like, if I am wrong, if you have brought up facts, if you have brought up a perception of reality that I have not seen before, and I can honestly say, yes, okay, I agree, that is true, by all means, then I am wrong, and I am okay with that. That is why, it's I think that's the problem right now today. Is people are simply, and I think they are perverting faith. Because faith is imagination, when you really think about it, right? I have faith that the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Now, the reality is that who knows, the universe, maybe the sun just decides to go out. And we've got 8 minutes of warmth and heat, and that sun isn't coming up. Right? Who knows? Universe, strange place. I have faith that the sun is going to be around long after I am gone, and have gone back to the universe and traversing other worlds and other realms. I have faith that when my light turns green, kind of. I still look both ways, because you never know. But there's a faith that, okay, this is going on here. But when you get people that have faith, and if they suddenly lose it, that's all they have, because they didn't have enough confidence in their truth or enough of a foundation, that then they've lost their faith, and they've lost it. So they constantly have to prove everybody else wrong. So that's what I talk about when I say a perverted faith. I have faith in the United States of America. We will get this figured out, okay? Whether or not Biden or Trump or, whether or not whoever's our public relations guy, right? Because really, they have some power. They can veto things. There are certain things they do. But really, it's our Senate and our Congress and everybody involved, because anybody who says or thinks it's true that their vote doesn't matter, well, look at who we got in office right now. And nobody, I don't even think Trump thought he was going to get into office, right? So, truth, right? When you look at relationships, you start throwing your truths out there. This is that poem. This is that, and if those words don't fall gently across the other person's tongue, they don't have a desire, right? That Bumble date that I had. And there's nothing wrong with that. I remember she even apologized in a text, because I told her, it was funny when I'd gotten home, I said, hey, I texted her, I said, look, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm probably not yours. And I left it at that, and she had texted the next day, and it was kind of one of those things where it was like, I just didn't feel it, I'm sorry. It's like, why apologize? This is why people meet. This is why we give our truths. This is why we share our poems with each other, our perceptions of the reality around us. This is why we share them. Hummingbird, my best friend. There was a time she called up and just, oh my God, and she's having some issues. And, she stated, it was like, my boyfriend, he said, I am the worst girlfriend in the world. And I'm like, well, yes, you are. To him, that is his truth. That is what he is perceiving as his truth. You are the worst girlfriend in the world to him. So it's that perception. That's where I come from. We live on a planet of well over 7 billion different worlds. Truth and reality? Yeah, I think they coincide to a certain degree, but I think there's a gray area based on the angle of which you're looking at it, right? Look at a prism in the light. And if you shift it just enough, it creates a rainbow. But when you shift it a little bit the other way, that rainbow disappears. So it's all about your perception. But that's also what makes, like in my last episode, that beautiful poem of you. And that's what makes you such an amazing and wonderful individual, that an entire snowstorm, and we've seen them, especially being from Colorado, where it is a storm that is covering the entire state. There is not one snowflake out of probably the trillions of flakes that have fallen that are the same. And that's the beauty of it. So, just going to finish up. Look at your truth. And it's okay to disagree with someone else's truth, because all that is just a different perception of the reality around us. And you find your tribe based on similar truths. So, thank you for letting me ramble. You go do the damn thing. I'm going to go do the damn thing. And the damn thing will get done. I'm your host, William. It was good growling at you. If you want to hear more growl, get growly with it. By all means, please subscribe. I'm on all popular podcast locations. You can also reach me to rage, debate, growl back at thegrowl@gmail.com. That's thegrowl, 2 W's, @gmail.com. Growling at you later.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon. Wasting all the sleepless nights. Will you find me? Hope you find me. When the sun